The reality is, the more risk you take, the luckier you get. So people need to learn to take one big risk a day. Every day take a risk and build up that risk muscle, because risk is where success comes.
Risk must be taken for the greatest. Hazard in life is to risk nothing.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
I think that most people, the reason that they lack success in their life is that they lack the courage to make the decisions that need to be made to put them in the position that they want to be in.
You can get so scared, and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking, in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
All right. Welcome. Happy hump day. Everybody out there in the crypto space, happy Wednesday to all of you. Thank you for being here. It's officially R2R live stream number 144 coming at you live and direct. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and pound that like button. Post notifications, subscribe, leave a comment. Do what you got to do. Get the YouTube algorithm pumping and grinding, please. Please do it. And if you're over on Twitter, aka the freedom of speech platform, also known as X, please do follow, retweet, hashtags, all the good stuff. All right. Yeah, we skipped yesterday. I wasn't feeling good yesterday. Man, the kids always bring home something. But I knew it 2 weeks ago when the teacher was out for a week that my daughter was going to bring something. She got it first. Everyone got it. Now I got to deal with this. The damn stomach flu. So drinking lots of liquids, trying to lay low, get rest. But it's impossible. It really is. Who can rest in crypto, right? Is there ever like a day since you started crypto that you can actually kick back? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're well positioned, if you're making a lot of money. Like when you're involved in crypto, you're involved in crypto. And you're in there. You're in the trenches no matter what. This is like a casino. Like nobody just walks off. They really don't. Remember, guys, not a financial advisor. For damn sure, not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. You must do your own research. Don't ever allow a social media influencer out there to influence you when it comes to cryptocurrency, because you could lose it all. By gosh, you could lose everything. You could go to zero. All right. I always say this. No one's made more money than me in this space. No one's lost more money than me. Wreck to rich, rich to wreck. I've done it so many times, back and forth. All right, let's take a look at who's here today. Shout out to the members only, Cycle Crypto 23. What up, G? We'll be having members only. We're doing 2 videos today. Later will be the members only video. We'll be going over some updates in the OG ecosystem. OG Web Chef, shout out to him. We're also going to go into a token that I am secretly buying behind the scenes. And I will be reviewing that token in the near future. So don't forget, if you're not a member, links in the description. Price of a coffee, $2.99 a month. You get to sit with me a little bit extra with some extra content a couple times, a few times a week. All right. What's up, Jay Perry? Good afternoon. What is the take on ETH Zen? Buying it since it's cheap or mint? I'm seeing X1 soon. And I saw OPZ go up. So when I was clearing out my OPZ mitts yesterday and selling them, I was like, hey, I'm getting paid more today. This is good. This is good. What's up, man? Stacking PWBTC. We're swapping it for other stuff. Yeah. If you're talking about dominance, I still do the technique we talk about in R2R. So the 12-12. Split up the rewards and compounding. And the other 12 hours is buying EHEX. I have not stopped buying EHEX. Still buying EHEX and still cashing out, right? Whether it's a bull or a bear, I always pay myself weekly to keep the momentum of just my interest in general and to keep hustling. I like to look at the end of the week and pay myself on Fridays and Mondays, beginning and the end. When I pay myself on Monday, it's a good day. It feels like Friday. And when I pay myself on Friday, it really is Friday, right? So, excuse me. this is a time where, strategies like that come to play. Always got to make that money feel real. How is it going to feel real? Well, when I'm with my kids at, Denny's, where we do a family breakfast, I could say, hey, this is the luxury we have because dad's hustling, doesn't sleep. Always on the grind, right? So I always got to actualize the gains. But outside of that, I'm taking the PRAP BTC, compounding into dominance, splitting it up between stable tokens to get out into the real world and buying EHEX all day. There's no sleeping crypto, right? Really, you ever wake up right after you fall asleep? I fall asleep about midnight. Wake up 1 o'clock, check my phone. Fall back asleep 2 o'clock, check my phone. 4 o'clock up, checking my phone. By 5 o'clock, I'm back on the computer doing stuff. It's like, what is going on here? For years. Hex May, good morning. Shout out to Vibra Finance. He says 2 more weeks. What's going on in 2 weeks? Let me know, brother. So anyways, take a look at the markets here today. I think everything like we talk about, you got to look at the whole big picture, what's going on. Unfortunately, like those days of eating off the crypto plate where all you have is your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and your upcoming altcoins, and there's a separate, little dish there for your cryptos, and then you have your stock portfolio on a whole different. This is like a big Thanksgiving plate now, a mix of everything correlated with each other on the same plate. Stock market has a good day, crypto has a good day. Stock market has a bad day, Bitcoin has a bad day too. And then there's Ethereum. Everything is. I think it's funny in this ecosystem. Everyone's starting to understand Hart's law. It's something I understood early on in crypto because you start to realize, everything goes up and down with Bitcoin, right? That's because everything was heavily paired to Bitcoin. Then everything became heavily paired to the Ethereum blockchain, the Ethereum token, especially with the L1s, L2s, all that good stuff. So S&P 500. I like looking at TradingView, right? But I'm still all about the Yahoo Finance because I think everything that goes on is like these articles, right? These mainstream media articles, they control the narratives, control the market, really. Imagine if you had the stock market or any type of market, whether it was crypto, commodities, without any type of content from the media, like no articles, nothing, no headlines. How would the markets be on a daily basis? Well, you subtract that, and it would probably be its true value of what it is that company is producing as far as revenue. Are they in the plus? Are they in the negative? Are they in a booming part of the time in their industry? Are they the number one out of the Coke and Pepsi? Are they the top performing company in their category? Whether it's like baby food, it could be chips, soda, whatever it may be. What does the world look like without all of that extra media headlines like Yahoo Finance? Well, to get the buzz, to get the ups, to get the downs, the media controls everything. And they do a lot of that in crypto too. The big narrative that we went in heading into 2025 was Trump was going to go into office. Trump was going to create a big boom in cryptocurrency. Right, that was the big narrative. Helped, a lot of people get through the tough times. Like, hey, he's pro Bitcoin. Super excited to have a president that's being that involved. Released a meme token before he became president. There's a lot of hype there. Now you have people that are like, well, what is it? Bitcoin at 250,000? Damn, Trump. Takes time. Takes time not only to drain the swamp, it takes time to fix things. It takes time to reverse a lot of the broken. It takes time to heal the damage that has been done. And no matter what you do, a cycle's a cycle, I believe, right? Rise and grind, what's going on, DeFi-Ds? Jerome not in the house. We got to bring Jerome in the house. Let me take a look if we find something worth Jerome worthy. Still got an $800. Got an $800 ETH, broski. Yeah, I think an ETH will go to $500 to $700. 2 more weeks. It's now the official statement for Hexagon's coping. It became a meme at this point. Oh yeah, 2 more weeks. Oh my gosh. Let's jump into the Hex. Thanks for getting me back on track. Let's get back into the Hex blockchain. What's going on over here? It's interesting. You go on Twitter and it's like everybody is super bullish on PulseChain, right? I'll tweet something bullish about Pulse. I'll get a ton of likes, retweets, all that. I tell you the bear scenario and the reality of what's happening is it gets like no love. And the reason why I come up with these like super bearish thoughts and what I see happening, right? The community has looked for every, you see I drew the top here too. The community has looked for every exit point that they possibly could because of the fact that they've been underwater for a couple of years now with sacrifices. I've been starting to see it earlier this morning, like, oh, the Interpol notice for Richard Hart is going to be dropped soon because he mentioned something about a nonprofit, right? And they all are jumping on the narrative that the Interpol notice is going to go away for Richard Hart, tax evasion, right? Assault on a minor, we'll throw that aside. For the taxes, right? Oh, it's nonprofit sacrifice funds. Nonprofit. That notice is going away soon. Super bullish, he's going to stream. And then I go, did you know it's kind of a little bit too quick for Finland to go after him for tax evasion on the sacrifice funds? It would be pretty premature. You know where that notice and where that money could probably be stemming from or surfaced or the birth of that problem? Wasn't the sacrifice. It actually heads back to the beginning of time in December 2019 when the AA lobby began. Remember Peter Wise got all pissed off, Richard Hart's cycling Ethereum in his own auction, this and that. It goes back to where did the ETH go? And Richard Hart told us for the reasons that surfaced today, the reason why he beat the SEC when it comes to Hex beta security, right? And it's not, was because he set the no expectations early on before PulseChain. He actually came out and said, you're not supposed to know where the ETH went. You're not supposed to know where the ETH went. If you know where the Ethereum went, then you would have expectations. So my guess is the simple fact that the Finland government, IRS, whatever their tax service is called, right? The Finland tax patrolman, whatever you want to call them, they were tracking, you know, hey, this guy got a lot of Ethereum. I think it's birthed from that. Like, where did the Ethereum go? Well, none of it went into our pockets. Okay. There was a lot to that Enigma diamond, you know, misappropriating people's funds and buying the diamond. It actually didn't come from the sacrifice money. There is a possibility, and there's been rumors that it actually came from where did the ETH go money, which is fine, whatever, okay? It's his money at the end of the day, whether you agree with it or not. That's between the right or wrong between his jurisdiction in the country and where the tax law lies and what he knows. He's the only one who knows. But even at that, or like what Vibrant just said, Interpol is another sell the news event. Yes, it is. Even, all right, even him streaming is another sell the news event. I think Richard Hart was a great founder of a token called Hex once upon a time. Really showed us what a cryptocurrency could do as far as a 10,000x for having very little liquidity, right? Something that has small liquidity could really skyrocket. And then over time, it'll correct just like any cryptocurrency does. But time after time, since the beginning of this launch of a blockchain, this is not just a token, this is a blockchain, 4 core assets, Pulse, PulseX, Inc., and then eHex. Remember, Hex, Pulse Hex is a P copy. Okay? eHex is the real thing. It's a P copy, just like PDI was a P copy. So when I say the 4 cores, I don't ever say P-Hex. I say eHex. To me, that's a core. And it has to be. It's his firstborn. Anyways, right, the biggest note that I took, and I talk about this all the time. I'm never going to stop repeating myself. And I tell you guys, I remember this when the injection of the sacrifice funds happened in March of 2024, beginning of wrestling season for my son. Every year starts in February, goes on from there. The injection for the sacrifice funds, people sold into it. They have sold into every single event that takes place up until the first time he defeated the SEC, and then he defeated them again. They sold into that. It's mind-boggling, though, that in such a small atmosphere, ecosystem, we don't have the luxury of putting the blame on like BlackRock or all these massive entities and corporate companies or any large investors that are massive out there that sell like Bitcoin or Ethereum. We don't have the luxury of saying like, oh yeah, Silk Road, Bitcoin's being sold by the government. The people that are selling on PulseChain are the ones that are out there saying it's going to new all-time highs all over Twitter. It's the community. The community as a whole shows that they don't believe in Richard after 2 years. So have you seen anything out there other than Richard is going to pump our bags eventually? Oh, like the LP so low, when Richard hits the button, it's going to take off. Have you seen anything outside of that? Since P-Dye has died, right? P-Dye was like the best thing holding people together that could like put any type of math together on why PulseChain could come up with like massive capital out of thin air outside of the SAC funds and pump the chain. Nobody is talking about P-Dye in the past week like they were before. They were like, that stupid P-Dye. Like they were holding on to that and really marketing the token well. It's gotten to the point where the narrative is dead. It's just another token. It's just another token. There's not a big narrative backing it at this point, which is understandable because of what happened. Okay. Ex-USD founder, Katie, took over the MakerDAO, shut it down. It's over, right? That narrative is done. How they get it to peg is between the community and believing in Maria, the Atropa dev. So I find everything crazy interesting on how people operate on this chain. I was even in these live X spaces. They're like, bro, you better start buying. Stock funds are coming in. Remember the money he sent through Tornado recently? 100 ETH at a time. Started bridging over, speculating, and everybody in that X space was like, hey, like you guys better load up. I knew better. I sold up here. And I went on a live stream with my people and in my chat room, and I told people, like, I'm selling the top. And some of you individually had told personally in private chats, like, I'm selling. Because that's what everybody else is going to do. Then I can buy it back cheaper. I think it's going to be able to continue to buy cheaper, right? Heading into probably late May, June. There'll be a turning point. You know, I'm not trying to time it. I just know I can DCA, and I don't have to worry about it taking off without me anytime soon. I'm not concerned about that. I have the patience for this. But if you look like historically across the board for crypto and DeFi, the accomplishment of beating the SEC in court is a big thing. And it was a nothing burger. A nothing burger. That's really sad, to be honest with you. That means that there is so much faith that has been lost that people are not expressing. And I've expressed it out there so that I'm not being those types of individuals. Right? I've come on here and I wrote this tweet earlier. I'll show you. Because I think that narrative that people are now pushing that the Interpol is going to be removed because they're saying that Richard's nonprofit organization, if they want to pull the narrative and piece that together and say the SAC funds, he owes no taxes on it, then they forget what happened a couple months before PulseChain went live. In March of 2023, USDC, the stable token, lost its peg. And we saw the sacrifice make a move where it made a trade on the depegging of USDC and scored a $30 million profit on that depegging. $30 million. So my tweet I just posted here because I want to be honest. I say March 2023, Richard Hart and his nonprofit organization SAC Funds made $30 million profit on buying USDC when it lost its peg. The greatest nonprofit organization move in world history, only on PulseChain. And I do that sarcastically so people don't get excited about these stupid narratives, these things that don't make any sense to be excited for, right? Because I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious that people are out there saying these things. I just find it funny and desperate. It is what it is, man. It's unbelievable. Like, you're telling me that it's a nonprofit fund that made $30 million on a depegging? What's the last nonprofit organization that you see on a public blockchain rack in $30 million on a trade like that? And you don't think that the person that operates that wallet doesn't owe taxes on a $30 million come up? In what world do you live in? In what world do you live in? And I think what really helps Richard is, listen, he has a lot of yes men on the chain. I think it's good to believe in your leader, but it's not like I'm going to be like, he's the almighty God. Like, you made an epic trade there on that depegging. We watched you make profit. Okay. We also watched you damn near buy the top of Ethereum with over $500 million of sacrifice funds. So just me pointing that out, it's just pointing out facts. A lot of the money here that's down 53%, it looks like a historically bad move with other people's funds that was originally other people's funds that sacrificed. They gave them up for freedom of speech, right? You didn't expect anything. Freedom of speech. Yeah, I heard, right? You had no expectations, but you're all crying about the price. But you had no expectations, right? Freedom of speech, whatever. The sentiment comes here because all roads to every narrative, Pete I'd done, SAC funds coming in and pumping their bags, done. You have $1 billion plus of money that came in between the sacrifices that sacrificed are massively below sacrifice. So your offset value in what could potentially pump the chain damn near is lopsided versus the money that came in. So if you had $1 billion come in to sacrifice that's this far below sacrifice, but you only got $300 million worth to come into the chain if you decided to do that. So it's like, hello, McFly. There's a lot of sell pressure. There's $1 billion of revenue that came in. Even if you slash off $300 million off the top, and say it's $700 million worth of sell pressure that sacrificed for freedom of speech, there's only less than half of that value to come in to save not only you from being under the water to bring it back to break even, but you got to account for the traders who bought for way less than you did, not sacrificing, buying after the fact. So it's probably going to go down. Right. And I used to laugh because Richard Hart used to make fun of Michael Saylor fat finger purchasing Bitcoin, meaning he didn't set a buy limit order for Bitcoin. He just market bought with slippage, tons of Bitcoin. Right. And it was between $30,000 to $35,000, $40,000. He was doing that. And it was hilarious because we're like, yeah, he's right. Like, damn. But then you look, even though he fat fingered, didn't set a market order for that, he actually made it a big, massive position that was up massively when it was up $100,000, right? $109,000 at the peak. So Michael Saylor was laughed at then, but now he actually made a way better move than Richard Hart, even at Bitcoin's price right now today. By far, compared to Richard Hart's purchase with the SAC funds on Ethereum. Nobody's perfect, but that's what's driving the overall sentiment of where's the money going to come from? Where's the money going to come from that's going to offset the $1 billion investment that's in the water? In addition to that, the amount of money that has bought the dip that would be in massive profit at sacrifice, right? And there's no new users. We're not onboarding new users. So what happens? And I'm glad you guys are talking about TitanX too, because this is actually similar to what happened with TitanX. TitanX would have been a fabulous explosion of success, but they started to cycle their money. They were not getting any new money or new users, so they imploded. So everything that built on TitanX that continued to build additional tokens was actually creating more supply at a one-to-one at TitanX, and they didn't have enough at the exit and enough people entering as people exit to sustain break even for any new investors or people who got in late. So with PulseChain, right, the worst thing I tell myself I can do is, outside of buying core tokens, is supporting tokens that don't support the core tokens in any way. Which Maria was supporting core tokens such as EHEX by far, by a long shot, okay? Because now that we have no new capital, we have a ton of money that's down below SAC prices. There was $1 billion invested. The SAC funds are down. There's no users coming. We're not onboarding like crazy. Every token that launches, it weighs heavy on a very low liquidity environment, and it starts to suck the economic energy out of the system, just like TitanX. That's the problem with new tokens coming in as you're not producing new users. Pump tires, great features, everything. It came too late. Honestly, the meme coin friends was going crazy in Solana. But the reason why Solana was able to have home run after home run, $1 billion market cap, $100 million market cap meme tokens, is because as meme tokens were coming and getting people rich and then wrecked, they were onboarding new users every day to sustain the volume and the massive amount of tickers that were having success, 100, 1000x gains. Even to this day, they're still onboarding enough to handle more new tokens. Their ecosystem is widely larger and can sustain new users. In a bear market, it's different, where I think we're at. But during the peak, when we were during the bull run, we were seeing like Fartcoin hit $1 billion market cap, went over $1. That should have been a clear sign. We're in a bull run, guys. There's a Fartcoin that's over $1 billion and went over $1. The peak was actually when Trump launched in January. Bitcoin had hit all-time high in December and started to shift down. Okay, and I believe we're what we call the bull trap before the inevitable 54K and pray. My scenario, my prediction, whatever. You don't have to believe in my thought. I'm an influencer, whether I want to be or not. Don't believe what I say or any other guy on YouTube or Twitter says. Do your own magic. Come up with your own scenario. This is mine. So TitanX is a very similar outcome of where PulseChain is heading with no users. Because what you'll see with TitanX is the moment they have a green day, they are all over Twitter. We're going to the moon and 100x is coming. But what happens is people sell into that opportunity that they've been waiting for so long because it's been going down. They sell that down and it corrects pretty hard. just like PulseChain does, on one of the biggest outcomes that could possibly happen in crypto, beating the SEC in court. Beating the SEC in court. Sell the news event. You would have thought that influencer, nope, crypto is like, F you guys, I don't want to talk about you. Centralized exchanges like Kraken said, it's a rumor, we're not listing you. The community was starting the rumor that Kraken was going to list us talking to a bot on X. You can't make this up. So, Titan X, if it had a clean avenue of onboarding new users, you guys would be successful. But it doesn't. Every pump is going to dump because you have so much money to wait to get out. PulseChain's in the same scenario. So how do you produce new users? How? We have yet to figure that out. I feel like PulseChain has very difficult avenues to bridge over. Then you got like the pinata. Download PulseX on your own computer. Like nobody is there in DeFi. The new onboards are not trying to download PulseX, bridge, and swap on their computer. These IPFS, all that stuff. Like nobody's there yet. Right? Nobody's there yet. Especially the people that you want on board. So they go to the easy route, Solana. And then Solana has X1. And I think X1, Jack Levin's chain, when it launches, it'll probably take some market share away from Pulse. The simple fact that a lot of people that invested in Zen were people who invested in Hex. And the people who invested in Hex were looking for new opportunity, went into Zen. The original investors of Zen were from Hex, which became the original investors of Zen were in Titan X. And now it's going to full circle into the X1 ecosystem where people will leave PulseChain. Hopefully, their goal would be break even or at a loss to change the new opportunity, which is some new technology that's been worked on for years. So there's going to be hype and excitement. So I do think market share could be taken from PulseChain for X1, right? Not financial advice, but hyperinflationary is real. I've been around so long. I've seen so many tokens with much better hyperinflationary mechanics. No users, no success. I've seen it happen so many times. You see, Titan X wasn't my first rodeo. It wasn't. People think that like this is the first time something's ever done that. No, you're mistaken. It's trust me. Any speculation on what might be accepted for X1 SAC or whatever they do. Yeah, they're going to have moon parties. I don't know if you've been around the block with this, but you're basically going to be able to burn the Zen you either have or buy and burn Zen for your tokens. You know what I'm saying? So that makes Zen. And this is why my OP Zen probably went up yesterday. For example, every day I'm still collecting mints on OP Zen that are profitable. I got like 100 of these I got to collect per day. And at these points here, several months back, I was like, oh my gosh, my payouts are going up every day. Then they went back down. Now X1 news is like 60 to 90 days out, we were told, for launch. So my daily mints are even more and more in profit with this exciting little candle here of people are like, it's coming. So the people are going to buy Zen to burn it for the new blockchain, which is X1. That's where that is where you're going to see the trend of going up. Now, it will go up, I believe, when X1 launches. How sustainable that is, we'll see the structure of what that blockchain could actually do. But we've seen it break the almighty PulseChain. We've seen it really damage a lot of chains. Stress test them all. Nobody could handle it. No chain could handle the Zentment hype at all whatsoever. It's a little bit embarrassing, right? But back to my favorite token, right? Although I do believe we're not going to continue to onboard new users at a rapid pace. I don't believe the chain overall is going to have crazy long-term success because of the way technology moves. So like X1 will come out. You'll have that window of opportunity with X1 to produce gains and then move on to the next tech. We're in a tech evolving spectrum of investments and opportunities. So the windows are going to be small. Let's say you invest in VCRs. You sold VCRs at the peak of its technology. Then you started to sell DVDs, DVD players, buy and sell them. Sold them at their peaks, went into Blu-ray. You're in Blu-ray, you see ultraviolet coming up, and you go, you know what? Smart TVs are the future. They eliminate DVDs. Applications on a TV are the future. So you hopped from like an invention that evolved all the way to its peak. VCR, DVD, Blu-ray. You said, forget this ultraviolet. I'm going to invest in smart TVs where you just download the app and you if you want a better resolution, you go with 4K or HD, whatever you want. They're all cheap now these days because you could buy a 65-inch 4K TV for $299 right now at Walmart. Back when those first came out, that was damn near a $1,500, $2,000 TV that you can buy for $300 now because the technology's old. So that to me is like the evolving atmosphere that we're in crypto, these small windows. So while I still think there's a window of opportunity for PulseChain to come out of this trend, which is the market going down in Pulse and recovering, where I believe the most X's will be fulfilled is EHEX. And I will leave PulseChain when I get the amount of money I want to exit. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say PulseChain in the next 10 years is going to be the best thing ever. It's been out for a couple of years. It more than underperformed. It lacks a lot of things that are simple, things you need, a block explorer, a lot of things. It had the SEC come at it during the worst time. The SEC was defeated. It's leveraged on Ethereum, which is old tech. As soon as I can get out with profit, I'm out to the next tech. This will become the Blu-ray. And the leap to the next technology, which is the smart TV with the apps, that you could just go on these apps now and order movies at will. Order paper. You don't have to put a disc in anything. The Xboxes don't even need a disc. You can download your games. You just need a bigger hard drive. So at the end of the day, guys, the evolving technology and why Ethereum will get left behind is for that example I just gave you. And that's why Vitalik hasn't done much, because the money and resources that it's going to take for him to make ETH at its best will never be enough upgrades to keep up with the technology of smart contracts that are being built today. And it's no one's fault. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what mankind does. It evolves. That's okay. That's okay. And that's okay if you still believe too. Everyone has their own individual opinions, right? However, sometimes somebody told me this, because I used to be that person that was like ride or die, like crypto, like I got to ride or die. I got some simple advice from somebody wiser and older than me. They're like, sometimes you just got to get out of your own way. So I realized, yeah, I do. I had to get out of my own way with Richard Hart because he was like, hey, he made me a lot of money with Hex. He's smart. He's intelligent, a high IQ. Once I got out of my own way, I started to see the mistakes, and he is human. And my human error was believing he was some kind of superpower. And then I realized he forked the wrong tech. And then I realized with my experience, facing reality is like, yeah, it does suck. The gas fees are horrible. It sucks to bridge the PulseChain. So what could I do? What everybody else is doing right now, extracting value at every pump. But I want to do it at a much higher range. When it recovers, it goes back into the bear and never comes back. I think that we can see EHEX go up a lot. PulseX, Pulse 2 above SAC one day. But once it hits the next cycle, goes into a bear, the newer technology is going to rise up, and then PulseChain won't hit all-time highs ever again. That's just the reality we live in. It's evolving technology. It's nothing personal. It's business. I want to make money. You want to make money. So, he said RH just tweeted in response to you. Let's go see. Let's see what RH said. The blockchain was invented to replace trust with proof. So idiots, being what they are, have filled up all the space around blockchain with plain make-believe. The opposite of proof, demand proof, raise your bar for belief. Verify, not trust. Yeah, I don't know what proof he has that this is going to be. The proof that we have is on chain. We're leveraged on Ethereum. The believers believed in the sacrifice money. That was the most positive sentiment before PDI got so strong. He bought the top, and the proof's on the chain. So he is right. He is right. And before I would read something like this and go, you know what? He's right. He's so much smarter than me. Now, we're on the same playing field, homie. You just got more money than me. He ain't the smartest cookie. He ain't the smartest cookie in the jar like I used to think. So I got out of my own way. I love Richard Hart still, by the way. However, I'm going to continue to follow the technology. I'm not in Finfesta TG. Remember, token yield is done forever, or is he working on it? So I'm not in there either. Every token has a different aspect that they're working on to just create yield. I think they're doing like a members only 1 trillion club for like Remember. I'm not in their TG because I don't need to be. I have ways of knowing. Anyways, RH on this live stream, he listens. I doubt it. It's probably the noise you hear on Twitter, because there's a lot of people that talk mess, but I've been tagging them on a lot of stuff too. But I mean, geez, it doesn't matter what he says; they're going to twist it. Literally said, "Don't buy PDI." Oh, he's playing 3-day chest. Have a nice Sonic bag as my hedge play in case PulseChain doesn't 10x from here. He knows who you are, Thomas G. I don't think he does. I tried to get in contact with him back when I had a 30,000 sub channel. I don't think he did. I was mostly joking about the response to your part, but it's almost fit as he was talking about the tech. Yeah, the technology, you know what technology can do and what it can't do with just pure experience. Oh, snaps. Hey, thank you for the super chat. You know, we know how we celebrate those, bro. Thank you for the $2 super chat. like I said, we all have each other's different opinions. Like, I don't want anyone to take things when I say personal, by the way. This is just my, what I've spun up. And I think what'll happen, don't accept he's CBDC if they fight it with crypto. I'm kind of lost there. I think right now that the one thing that people will do is try to, like, we talked about this token the other day. And you take a look at the numbers it's did here, right? I've really looking at this going, like, I got in early, said nothing about it because I understood what I showed to you guys the other day, the likelihood of what's going to happen. So if I go and sell my bag, which I haven't, this is going here. But what will probably happen is someone will dump and it goes here. Then I sell because I want to secure my profit. Then we go here. The next person's like, oh, shoot. Boom, boom, boom. So if you, like, these pump tire tokens have a small window, just like the pump fund tokens on Solana. Most of them die, some succeeded, right? Big time success stories is what we said. I would be like, okay, after I sold, I would wait till it came back down. And even at that, it could be a slow grind back up. PulseChain community is in major extraction mode. I don't blame people for the stuff that they're saying when it comes to Mona Lisa. They want to believe in something backed by gold. Like, I'll troll them. I was like, yeah, it's backed by Saddam Hussein's gold-plated AK-47. It's backed by Canadian gold maple coins. Because really, at the end of the day, they want to produce more pulse than they have to make money. And we are in a position where we have to cannibalize each other to make money. Like Tupac says, I made a G today, but I made it in a sleazy way. And some people are becoming real comfortable with that. And it's okay. It's okay. It's the nature of the beast. It's the reality of where we're at, right? I will tell you, I will talk about a token and tell you this shit can come down. This is what can happen. Don't listen to me, things like that. But there are people that are big enough and strong enough influencers out there. They're going to tell you otherwise, like, it's going to go up. No, buy now. And it's, the nature of the beast, man. People want it. Money's evil. Leave it at that. The TV analogy fits well. As its deflationary price over time, the tech needs to keep up with the workspace. Yes. Central bank digital currency. Do not accept when they try forcing their hand. RH needs to implement all the ETH updates over the next few years and start streaming the PulseChain will pump. That's having expectations, right? Why do we need him to stream? Got to ask ourselves that. When's the last time Vitalik has streamed? I mean, he shows up, shows his face, tweets, But is ETH like, we need a live stream from Vitalik so we can go up? Like, it just, like, to me, it sounds silly. I don't know why we've gotten to that point. I think it's all going to do well. Tinex will do best, though, but Pulse will perform this year also. BTC will go over 120, and ETH will at least get back to 3 or 4K, in my opinion. Nice. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. So you're saying that Bitcoin is going to have a 30,000 plus increase. So traditionally people before summer cash out. And July, like around these periods of the cycle, are pretty bloody. Recover in August. I don't know your timeline, right? But if it's going to happen soon, there's going to be a lot of money that's going to inject into Bitcoin. A range pump to 120. Ethereum 2x from here to 3 to 4K is what you're saying. And we're going to have new all-time highs after correcting back down to about 75K. Once we corrected back down to 75K, in my opinion, based off the number of cycles I've been in, was the mark of what's going to soon come, 54K in prey. I've shared my time frames before. What were we, 20,000, 18,000 above the 75K dip? To me, this is a massive bull trap. And I always have this open here. Heading into the weekend, we're going to have a clear image of what is to come. Because in a bull trap, it's going to be a massive slide in one direction. And that direction is liquidating the long positions as they get stronger and bigger. Okay, so just in 24 hours, the longs have been liquidated overall 268.5 million, right? The longer we stay in this range here, 93, 94, 95, 96,500 is like a big resistance. More people will put in longs and get bullish. And then they'll pull the rug and make a lot of money liquidating the long positions. So I think we're here by literally by the control and design of the market makers. It's into the hands of the people that have power over the market. Time and time again, these people become more and more strong because we use centralized exchanges. Not a lot of people are in DeFi. There's not a mass amount of users out there that are using ledgers, using MetaMask and Rabby, plugging their ledgers through there, actually have ownership of their keys. We're in a world where people feel more comfortable giving over their money like they do in the traditional world to banks. It kind of sucks, Selling Pulse to the kids, got to get paid. That's just the way it is. Oh, my God. Wow. I freaking love that. Selling Pulse to the kids, got to get paid. That's just the way it is, for real. Man, that is a good one. I love that. I don't have to steal that. Things will never be the same, right? That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to know how the story ends soon. There's a saying about going away in May. May go away. Selling may go away. And it sounds like silly, but in the cycle that I think we're in right now, heading into the summer, I do think that's going to play out. And you got to keep up to date with the media. Who controls the narrative? Who controls the excitement? Who controls the fear? Who induces the fear? Who induces the excitement? Who creates every topic and every narrative out of thin air? Right now, crypto Twitter does that for crypto. But who does that in the stock market that we're correlated with? The media. The media. So follow those articles. You don't have to believe it. I don't believe any of this stuff when I read it. What I tell myself is, are other people going to believe it? Yeah, they're brainwashed. I talk to any family member, everything they hear in the news, to them, is like concrete detail what's going on. Like they really believe, like, hey, did you see that on Fox News, what they said about Trump? Did you hear what they said about this, about that? It's like, no, I don't believe any of that. And then you're a weird conspiracy person because you don't believe what the media tells you. So I just fine-tune my ability to predict things off of what I know the vast majority of people believe. They believe all of this stuff. They believe everything, every article that you see here. They read it, they digest it, they believe it. They're trained to do that. a lot of us in crypto are not built that way because we've gotten away from like believing in these systems and having a mind of our own. God forbid you have a mind of your own, right? And they call us conspiracy theorists. We're in these out of our minds in the rabbit hole until all of it starts to surface and come true, right? So I think we have an advantage of thinking for ourselves. And X, Elon Musk freedom of speech platform gave us that opportunity to express things, and people are starting to see more of the truth. So use that to your advantage. That's all I got to say. Not a financial advisor. Come to your CNNs and all that. See the stuff they're putting out there, and there's a delayed reaction to everything. So you might see an article that pops up here in the next 10 minutes, right? And you're going to be able to determine the delayed response of the market before it closes in 2 hours and 48 minutes. Is this article made to be bullish? Is this article made to instill fear? You can apply it back into crypto, right? Let's say you're with Bitcoin and you're going, that article is not good for the stock market. Let me get out of Bitcoin and go stable and buy it cheaper. There is always a delayed response to these articles because people have to read them, see them, then they get scared. It's really interesting, though, how it all ties up. I don't make the rules. I just try to look between the lines and try not to be what they want me to be, a sheep, right? So I'm not a sheep in my own ecosystems either, like PulseChain. At this point, I don't care what Richard Hart says. I look at the data and the facts. Richard Hart can live stream today. The price will jump. I will sell into that. And a New York minute. Like 5% earlier, I sell the news event. Continuously happen. And there are opportunities to trade. Don't forget to pound the like button. I barely made it to stream. I'm still so sick. You can hear me super clogged. Don't forget to pound the like button. Drop a comment. Until next time, we'll do it again. Yeah, dog.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including. Got me on Navex and bought me some Joe. Farming go crazy, you know how it goes. Zoopy on Phantom, I got a few nodes. Sticking my Rex, you know I'm gon' hold. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.